Hello and welcome to my channel, Fix It or Sink It. One man, one boat, no guarantees. This is my 24-foot yacht project. And I've made this channel so that you can all follow my progress on restoring this boat. She might look quite good on camera, but believe me, when you see inside, you'll understand why she's a project. She needs an awful lot of work before she can go on the water, before I can even think about putting the sails up. So we are in West Wales. It's a lovely day today, but we have had about 2 weeks of solid rain. And while it's raining, I can't work on the boat. So I've got an indoor location where I need to put this boat, but I need to drop the mast. So that is today's job, is to get that mast down onto stands on the deck, and then we can get this boat inside and I can crack on with the work. So let's get going. Right, so if I'm going to stand any chance of doing any work on this boat, I need to take the opportunity today while we've got barely any wind and really nice weather and it's dry to get this down on the deck. Now, this mast is on a tabernacle down here with a bolt that runs through the tabernacle. So when we release the shrouds, backstay, well the backstays could probably stay on, release the forestay, we can hinge the mast on this bolt down on the tabernacle to get it down, drop it onto its frame, and then release the bolt, pull the mast out, and I'll need a second pair of hands, but we should be able to walk the mast forwards to get it central on the boat and nice and secure. Then we can tie it all up, make it safe. So, how am I going to do that? Well, there's a few different methods, but I'm going to use the A-frame method. So, we have 2 lengths of standard 2.4 meter CLS stud work timber that I've bolted together using an eye bolt. This creates an A-frame, but we're going to position this frame. I'll have to move some things off the deck, but we're going to position this frame either side of the coach roof, something like that. Attach it to the eyes on the deck where the shrouds are attached. Attach either the main or the Genoa halyard, whichever runs best, to this, and then another line will come off this and down to one of the winches, and that will be our control line, because when we drop this mast, it's going to go backwards. So this will be effectively fixed in that position, but as the mast starts to drop, this will rise with it and keep a really good angle, and we'll have good control of lowering the mast. So that's the rough plan. First thing I need to do though is clear up the decks, get rid of all the clutter. We don't want anything that we can trip over. Start removing any rigging that hasn't already been removed, and then get this set up in place. So let's make a start. So I'm going to need a completely clear and clutter-free deck. So I need to get the boom out of the way. Any ropes that are lying around like this need to go. This netting is shot, it's rotten and falling to pieces. So I'm going to take all of that off, get that out of our way. We don't want anything tangling around that. Down here at the mast base, I've got wiring to undo. These are deck fittings that just unscrew and theoretically should pull out. That one is a bit seized, so that's going to, oh no, it's coming. That's going to need a bit of work. That one is seized as well. So I'm going to have to get some pliers on that to release it. Figure out that wire is just going through the deck, so I need to go inside, see where that one is going and what it is. And again, this is on a fitting going straight through this one. So again, I need to go inside and see where that's going and pull those wires out. So they need to come out. This bolt here is actually loose. See? So that's okay. And once I've done that, we're going to have to get the furling line in. We don't want that hanging around. And I can start to release or slacken off the forestay and slacken off these bottle screws on the shrouds. Not so bothered about the back stays. You can see I've got twin back stays going up here because the mast is dropping that way anyway, so they'll naturally become slack. They can stay attached and I can disconnect those if I need to once the mast is down. Or I need to get that solar panel off the deck because if we knock that, that's going to get damaged. Yeah, and then set up my lines, my control lines. So there's quite a bit to do. I'm going to time lapse this. It'll be quite boring if I'm just walking around filming it all, so I'm going to put this on a time lapse. So I will see you all once everything is clean on this deck and we're ready to drop the mast. So the plan is to put a frame here, so when the mast comes down, it will land on it and be nice and secure. It may only be temporary because I might find that the mast being this low is in the way of me getting in and out of the cabin. But at least for the moment, we can get the mast down on the deck and it means I can move the boat. And then if need be, I can always slide the mast over to one side, or I could lift it down altogether and put it on the trailer underneath the boat. But for now, I'm going to figure out how I can put this timber support here. So this is just a couple of pieces of pre-owned CLS timber that you'd use in a stud wall. And all I've done is cut them to equal lengths and popped a bolt through them so that I can spread them to a point where I want them. And then we've got a V here that the mast will sit into. Now, I do want to try and get this as high as I can without being silly. So I think that's going to be too low. So I'm wondering if I can slide it between here. Yes, that's what I want. That's really good. So if I can strap it into that position, we've got weight down here on the boat. I've got the framework here to strap to, and the mast will sit here. Now I'm stood up in the boat at the moment. That's head height. Might actually be okay. I've just got to duck underneath it. At least for the time being, I'm going to get that fixed in place. So I'm going to cable tie it around the timber, around the frame, stainless steel framework, around here and here. And then I'll put some ropes on as well, just to act as guides and support. The cable ties aren't that strong. Right, let's get into here. Excellent. I think I actually inherited these cable ties with the boat, so they're coming in very handy. Now then, will one cable tie go around the whole lot? Ooh, not quite. Not quite. That's a shame. Okay, well, let's join two together. Now, once these are in place, they're not actually taking any load on the mast because the loading is coming down to where it's touching the deck. So all they're actually doing is stopping the mast or the support from falling over. It's not really doing very much. But we'll put these on, and I think I'll still put some rope or string around them, just because we are going to be doing a very, very short journey on the trailer with this boat to get her indoors. So I don't want the mast slipping whilst we're moving the boat. And that's 4 cable ties. That is, I mean, it's pretty sturdy. But I'm going to put some rope on it, I think. One thing I've learnt over the years of doing quite a few boat projects is salvage anything you can, because you can reuse all sorts of stuff. As long as this rope's strong, which it is, I can reuse this. So I'm going to tie this up as well, just to make it nice and secure. Very, very strong. I'm very happy with that. The mast is going to sit here nicely in this V, and that's not going to go anywhere. Like I said, when the mast is down, I'll probably put a line from the mast down to the cleats, because I've got a cleat here and a cleat here. So that's going to hold everything down to the deck anyway. She can't spread because it's up against the railings and it's tied to the railings. So I'm very happy with that support. I think next now we need to get the A-frame in place, and then we can look at, got to move the electrics off the deck, release the shrouds, release the forestay, lower it down. Right, let's get busy. Right, so we've got timbers here. That's going to be my A-frame. I do also have a mast support frame here that I made for the bow, but I don't think I want to be putting that on just yet. I think I'll get the A-frame set up, which gets it out of the way. It should be down, it'll be down here on the deck and just set up ready. Then I can get access forward, strap this to the forward rails, and yes, get everything else prepped. And I want this to locate onto the eyes on the deck that the main shrouds are attached to. So roughly there. Now then, I've got an eye bolt in this. I think I'm going to have the eye bolt facing upwards. I think that's going to be a bit safer. Yeah, happy with that. And then one of my control lines, which will probably be the Genoa halyard, will then attach to this eye here. And then we can bring another control line off that eye or around the frame from somewhere that's going to go from there to the track, back to a winch, either side, it doesn't matter which side, and then we can slowly control the mast as it drops. So I'm going to go and find some small twine or thin rope, if I've got any, just to secure this timber work onto the eyes on the deck, and then we'll have a look at the rigging. I've got myself some green twine. Doesn't need to be anything particularly fancy, it's only just to stop the wood from moving around. So let's use some of this. Okay, one each side. Test that. Yeah, that's good. So that's how it's going to work. I'm going to do the same on this side. That is now attached to both ends. We have a good frame. That's really good. That's great. That's worked out very well. So this, my Genoa halyard, I'm going to find that and attach it to there. And we'll set this up with it hanging about here or so, because we want that obviously to go up all the way 90 degrees if it needs to. Great. Okay, here we have it. So condition is okay. Good job, I think. Probably take these off when the mast is down and give them a launder and just assess the condition. It's a fine line between working on a budget for a project boat, not wanting to overspend, but then you've got to put safety first. So if a halyard is looking a bit iffy, don't trust it, change it. But I'd always recommend giving them a clean first, and then you can see them properly. and make a good judgment then. Look at that. Brilliant. Okay. So that's a bit high. So I'm just going to drop that down a bit. We've got flies coming out of this. You'll find that you'll get flies and wasps living in all these little crevices. If you keep your sails on over the winter, they'll stay in the sails and then they'll die and leave little black dots. It's horrible. So that cleat is a little bit loose. What I'm going to do is I want it set just not even a foot off the deck. I want it set about there. So I'm going to use that cleat, but I'm going to go around the mast as well. Because if this lets go, then the whole mast will just drop. So we need to know that this is absolutely secure. So I've gone round the mast. I've got a cleat on the other side, same as this one. So it's a bit congested, but I'm going to go around that as well. And then I'm going to come back around the mast again. So when I'm lowering this mast, I want to be 100% confident that it isn't going to drop and go anywhere. So I'm going to go totally overkill. That's good. Excellent. Right. Let's get another rope on. So I've got a nice short length of strong rope, pulley with a bow shackle through it. It is only a steel one, but it doesn't matter for this. It's strong enough and it's not permanent. So I'm going to want to attach the rope to the pulley. Just going to put a bowline in it. Strong rope is very stiff. Okay. Nice and tight. Not going to go anywhere. Now I'm going to tie this around the cleat. Good, right. So now we can bring our control line through there and up to this. Up to the eye. A nice bowline on there as well. Like that. And then we have it. We've got a control line. Now I need to get this control line fixed at the stern, so everything's nice and tight, and then we can tackle the electrics on the deck. So I've got a rope here at the moment which is congesting the winch that I want to use for my control line. This rope's holding my ladder on, well I won't be needing that soon, so I'm going to remove this rope, free up this winch, put the rope back onto that cleat so my ladder doesn't fall off, and then we can set up our control line. Now that can come off at the moment. This is a line that's just going down to the trailer, not really doing much because she's strapped on. So let's get that out of our way as well. Okay, it's all right. Needs a service, but it's okay. And there we've got our control line. I'm just going to lock that temporarily there, and we're set. So all we will need to do when we're lowering the mast is feed that out around the winch. Around the winch so that we've got control. If we need to bring it back up, it's round twice, we can pull it back up nice and easily. You're getting a bit of a snippet as to what it's like inside this old boat. But what I'm showing you here is the inside, and we've got the mast electrics, okay? So if you remember, up on deck, we've got plugs this side. So these two are going up to the plugs. I have no idea what they're doing yet, but we can unplug those on deck. And then we've got these two this side. Now I think I'm right. Yeah, this is a, I don't know if you can see that. It's a multi-core. This is more than likely going to the wind instruments. And this one, is this a coax? Because it's thin black. Yeah, this is a coax. So this is the VHF aerial. Okay, these two are actually not connected. They are completely loose inside the boat. So I can pull these out, not worry about those. These two are on the plugs, so I can disconnect the plugs once I've freed them off, and we can get those out of the way. Now there'll be a video coming where I do a full tour of the inside of this boat and I show you exactly what's going on in here and what we need to do. Watch out for that one. So here we are, we're back at the base of the mast. So these two, which you just saw, are loose inside the boat. And these two here have got the connectors, deck connectors. So I'm going to pull these two out first. They should just pull straight up. Oh, it's disgusting. Oh, yeah, here we go. There's one. Ugh. There's the other one. Oh, this is just as grim. Yuck. Ah. There we go. Two of those. Right. Those two. Probably going to be redundant. Probably replace those. Then we've got here a seized deck fitting, and then behind it one that we did unscrew, but it wouldn't come out. Oh, here we go. It's out. Look at that as well. Look how green that is. If you can see that. Look how green that is. That wants a good clean up if this is salvageable. Someone's put silicone all over it. So I'll have to take this apart and have a little look, see if I can salvage this, clean that up. But at least we've got that one out. And it's a 2-pin, so it's probably powering a light on the mast, I would imagine. And then this one is seized. Oh, no, it's not. It's moving. It's moving. Is this going to play ball? It's coming. Yes. This looks promising. Yes, look at that. Beautiful. Again, it's green. You can see this boat's been sat around. Absolutely green. It's had no maintenance. And again, silicone all over it. So, in fact, look at that. That is terrible. The insulation on the wires is on the outside. That shouldn't be cut back that far. This outer insulation should be inside this. This outer insulation here should be inside this fitting. So that's going to need attention. Strip it all apart, see if I can service it, resurrect it and reuse it. Hopefully I can. These are good fittings, but they're all off. So that means the electrics are done. This one's got its cap, so I'm going to put it on for the sake of it. The other one's missing, but I'll put this one on. So while we're here, I'll just show you this. This is the mast bolt. So you can see this is nice and loose. It's actually too loose, and it hasn't got a nylock on it, which I don't really like, that it doesn't have a nylock. So when this goes back, I'll actually put a nylock on it instead. So I'm just making sure that this is absolutely loose, because we're going to have to pull this when the mast comes down. It is. There we go. Mast isn't going to go anywhere at the moment because the shrouds are all on, the rigging is still on. There's your mast bolt. It's a bit small. I might actually put a bigger one in. What's that, about an M8? I might be able to get an M10 in there. And a nylock nut instead of a standard nut in stainless steel. But it's all right. It's fine. We can get the mast down with this. That's no trouble. And we can have a look at that at a later date before the mast goes back up. There's plenty more to do before I get to that stage. So we're just going to leave that loose and carry on with the rest of the preparations. There you go. As you can see, we've got the mast down. Hopefully you could see everything. I've tried to set the camera in a nice location so that you could see it dropping and just see how the A-frame worked. But that came down very, very nicely. The A support that I put on the bow fell over, so at the moment she's just sat on the bow rails. So I'm just going to tidy things up. I might try and put that support in the middle, perhaps. Have a little look now. Get these shrouds and rigging wires that are hanging down, get those all up, strap them up using some of my leftover twine, and then put a couple of ropes down onto the deck, onto the cleats, just to make sure that she's nice and secure. Then we can think about moving the boat. Right, let's crack on. It's getting cold. Right, let's have a look at this frame. So I want to sit this here, give the mast a bit of support. I'm going to lift it a little bit. There we go. That's not bad. That's just going to help that little bit of a flex in the mast. Thank you very much for watching my first video about my 24-foot yacht restoration project. I hope you enjoyed it. We've got the mast down now, and the next step is to get this boat indoors. So I'm going to get it in, and then we can get on with some real work on this boat. So once again, thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe to my channel. We are brand new. This is our very first episode. So subscribing would make a huge difference to me. So please do subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let me know your comments down below. I'd really like to hear from you all. Once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one, where we'll have a little look into what this boat is and a bit of its history. Thanks very much.